Good morning. There you are, I hope. So, this is Janet from Tribe Sober, and today I'm going to talk about early warning signs. I'm going to talk about signs that you need to take a break from alcohol. If you've ever Googled, "Am I an alcoholic?" like I used to do, then you may have been able to reassure yourself. I used to look at those questions and those kind of indicators of problematic drinking, and I'd think, well, no, I don't drink in the mornings. I might have a bubbly if I go out for brunch, but that's not drinking in the morning. No, I don't neglect my job or my family. In fact, I'm holding it all together. No, I don't drink and drive. I've never been arrested for drinking and driving. And no, I've never been told by friends and family that I should stop drinking. So I'm probably fine. So when you read those kind of indicators that we see online, it's very easy, isn't it, just to retreat back into denial and think I'm fine. But the thing is, if you are doing quizzes like that, and if drinking is on your mind, then it's a very clear indicator that you just need to take a break. Take a break, and your head will clear, and you'll be able to look at it completely differently. And of course, the fact that you can take a break, if you can take a break of 66 days, which is what we recommend, then you don't have a problem with alcohol. I always say that alcoholism is like a spectrum. One end of the spectrum, we've got the non drinker, and at the other end, we've got the hectic alcoholic, the homeless man in the park clutching his bottle, and he does drink in the mornings. But you need to keep an eye on things to make sure that you're not edging towards that alcoholic end. I mean, most of the population, we sit on that spectrum somewhere, and obviously towards the alcoholic end are what I call almost alcoholics, which are an awful lot of the population. We also call them, or me as I was, we call them functioning alcoholics. So it makes sense to do regular dependence checks to make sure that you're not edging towards that danger end. And that's why taking a break is so important, because it tests your dependence. Every year we should really go for a medical checkup, and every year I think we've got to check our dependence on alcohol if we're drinkers. So what I've done is I've picked on 10 early warning signs that indeed you do need to take a break. And if you're looking for some support, obviously our Sober Spring Challenge starts on Monday, which is support for 66 alcohol-free days, online community and audio support. So let me get going with my 10 points. Let me check that everyone can hear me. Yep, I think you guys would have told me by now. If you can't, yep. Awesome. Hi, everybody. Hi, Sue. Happy birthday, Sue. Right. Number one. Oh, let me move this down a bit. Okay. Number one. Have you ever found yourself making rules? Do you say things like, well, let me try only drinking at weekends? Then you find your weekend starts on Thursday and ends on the following Wednesday or something. Do you make rules? Do you say things like, well, I'll only drink when I go out, I won't drink when I'm at home, I'll never drink when I'm alone, and if I do go out, I'll always stop after 2 drinks? If you make these kind of rules, then that's pretty much a warning sign, because what it's telling you is that you're trying to control your drinking. And once you've crossed a line with your drinking, you can't control it because it's controlling you. You need to ditch the stuff. But if you're very early on in your drinking career, if you're a very sensible person that has, a few glasses of wine a week and is thinking, oh, well, maybe if, I make some rules, then I can control it, then maybe you can. But for many of us, we don't start making those rules until it's far too late. My favourite rule was I'll only drink when I go out. So I cleared out all of the alcohol from the house. We had nothing to drink at home. I said to my husband, that's it, we're only going to drink when we go out. But I made him go out practically every night. I'd say, "Oh, let's go out and have some dinner tonight," or "Oh, there's this really nice place." I'd always be making an excuse to go out. So we always find our way round the rules. So rules are a big warning sign. That's number one. Number two is, of course, when you break your own rules because you've crossed that line. We make the rules because we can't bear the possibility of life without alcohol. It was, I knew my drinking was getting out of control for years, but I thought I must watch this drinking thing because I never want it to get to the state where I have to give up completely. That was my worst nightmare. But in fact, giving up completely was the best thing that I ever did in my life, probably. So, rules, making rules and breaking rules, big signs. Sign number three. If you've got that kind of nagging voice in your head, you can keep it quiet for a while, but especially during hangovers or at 3 o'clock in the morning when your alcohol's leaving your body and you're feeling racked with anxiety, you keep hearing that voice. You've got to do something about your drinking. You've got to cut down. You've got to stop drinking. And then, of course, you get the other the other voice, which says, but how will I enjoy myself? How will I have fun? All my friends will dump me. Oh no, it's going to be miserable. You've got this, toing and froing, this argument going on in your head, which is absolutely exhausting and it makes you very anxious. So if you've got that voice, it won't be there all the time, but now and again it'll rise up and you'll push it down. So that nagging voice is another warning sign. Number four. Say you get to a gathering that you've been invited to, an event, and you discover that they're not serving alcohol. Well, if you're horrified, then that's also a bit of a warning sign. And I was reflecting on this yesterday because my husband announced he wanted to go out for lunch, which it's quite unusual these days. It used to be always me, that said, "Oh, let's go out to lunch, let's try this new place." And, I wasn't that bothered about the food. I just wanted to go out and get drinking. But it was him that suggested this. So I said, "Oh, sure, it's just in the waterfront." And he said, it's a big Turkish place. It's just opened and let's go and try it out. So we get to the Turkish place, and we sit down and we order our food. I found a mocktail, which was nice, a mojito. I had my mocktail. We started with the food. The food was horrible, but that's another story. So I was slightly grumpy, being dragged out from my desk to this lunch to eat food that was very greasy and I didn't really like. But about halfway through the meal, we suddenly realized that it wasn't licensed. And well, that was quite unusual in itself, the fact that a restaurant can survive when it's not licensed, because of course that's where they make most of their profit. But we just remarked on that fact and said, well, good for them if they can survive. Then that's a sign of the times, a positive sign. But I thought back to how that lunch would have gone if I was still drinking, because well, we would have got there and the food, I wouldn't have been happy with the food, but I'm not a foodie, so I wouldn't really have made a fuss. But if I'd discovered that I couldn't drink my wine, then oh wow, I would have been so bad tempered, and because I would have been anticipating this drink, the dopamine would be all fired up. I'd get there and then it'd be, what do you mean I can't have a drink? So yeah, getting to somewhere where you're expecting to be able to have a drink and then you can't, and feeling, having a real what the fuck moment, then big warning sign. And what about when you have lots of evenings out that the end gets a bit blurry? I'm not talking about hectic blackouts where you completely pass out, but I'm talking about things getting a little bit blurry. And you wake up the next morning and you're thinking back about, the journey home and can't remember it very well. and you find yourself looking for your phone, checking that your jacket is there. That's, a little bit of a warning sign as well if you have too many of those, because it means that you might be a little bit prone to blackouts, which I certainly was, and it means that, your blackouts might get more severe. So probably best to take a nice break, and then you either ease yourself back very gently into drinking, drink within the limits, or give the stuff up altogether. And as I'm always saying, we've had plenty of people on our Sober Spring that have gone alcohol free for 66 days, and then they feel so amazing. That's it. And they never drink again. And there's several podcast interviews with those people. So number 6. So I imagine you're quite a health conscious person, like we all are these days. So you probably eat organic, you eat gluten free, you exercise, you do yoga, you meditate, you read articles about your health, you're quite well informed, but you still drink alcohol. And it doesn't really fit in with all this wellness trend, but somehow you can't quite let it go. So you think, okay, I'll do all this stuff, and then I'll still have my wine, but that's just one little vice that I'm allowed. So having these kind of thoughts, because if you're trying to be healthy, it really doesn't fit at all. Where are we? Number 7. If most of your social activities revolve around drinking, that's another warning sign. And, if you mix with people that really enjoy drinking as well, because you might find yourself thinking, well, I'd like to stop or cut down, but what's everyone going to say? And I think that keeps a lot of people trapped, because we don't want to draw attention to ourselves, because people start saying, oh, have you got a drinking problem then? And it's all very tedious and embarrassing to start with. So if you're worried about the pushback, then that would indicate that a lot of your friends are also, in the drinking loop. And that's why taking a break and doing a challenge like Sober Spring is so great, because you don't have to say, I'm giving up drinking because I'm worried that I'm an alcoholic. That's just far too heavy. You can say, oh, I'm on a kind of health kick. I'm going without alcohol and sugar for 66 days. Do you think I'll make it? And then, if they give you a hard time, you say, well, why don't you join me on the challenge? So it gives you a great reason. Ridiculous that we need a reason not to consume poison, but we do. That's the way society is set up. So that was number 7. Number 8. You're spending more and more evenings home alone with Netflix and a bottle of wine. And you actually rather enjoy these evenings. And sometimes you think, well, I'd rather stay home and watch that movie and drink that nice red that I've got. And I'd rather do that than go out with these people that I don't know very well. And so, when that becomes more and more frequent, those home alone evenings, obviously there's nothing wrong with being alone, but being alone and drinking a lot is not good, because what it means is it means that alcohol's becoming your friend, and you're creating a relationship with that alcohol. And that's why our goodbye to alcohol letters are so popular, because when people really understand that alcohol abuses us just like an abusive lover would, and we need to draw a line and say goodbye to it, once they understand that and they write a letter to it, then they can, they finally ditch the stuff. So remember, drinking alone frequently is a warning sign again. Number 9. You think the low risk limits are hilarious, and you can't believe that anybody actually takes them seriously. Well, the low risk limits, for anybody that doesn't know, and I think everyone in our tribe, I'm always banging on about this, so I'm sure you do know, but it's a mere 1.5 bottles of wine a week, and many of us were putting away that a night, so it does sound crazy when you first hear it, but that just indicates how toxic alcohol is. So you've got 1.5 bottles of wine a week, or 6 beers. Number 10. So what about this one? You always feel a bit under par You know, when we drink, we never sleep well. We only get, what is it, 2 cycles of REM rather than seven, which is what we need. So if we drink every evening, if it's only a couple of glasses, you know, we've got this ongoing fatigue and it builds up and it builds up over the years until you never really feel refreshed, you know. And one of the wonderful things about sobriety, and certainly I experience it, and I've heard lots of our tribe talking about it, you just get to love mornings, you know, and you get up. I mean, I was up at 5 o'clock this morning, but that was because I had an interview at 6 o'clock on the radio. But I do get up really early. So, you know, do you always feel a bit under par? You're always a bit tired and you're always a bit anxious because drinking alcohol is like pouring gasoline on our anxiety, of course. And your favourite part of the day is when you get home, you know, at the end of the day and you sit down and you pour that first glass of wine. And if there's a real, oh, you know, like a relief getting to that drink. And that relief, of course, is that you've been in a mild state of withdrawal all day if you had wine last night, even if it wasn't, you know, 2 bottles, if it was a couple of glasses. So when you drink again, then it kind of lifts you up because just like with any drug, you know, when you're in withdrawal, you need another hit to take you back to the level state. So that's my 10 signs. If any of them resonate with you, then it's definitely time to take a break from the booze. So, you know, sign up for Sober Spring. It starts on Monday and just see it as a health kick. It really will do you so much good, even if you don't have a hectic problem with alcohol. And see it as an annual dependence check as well. 20% of social drinkers will become dependent over the years. So you need to make sure that that's not you that's edging towards that danger end of the spectrum. And why 66? Because you can create a neural pathway in 66 days. So if you do want to make a change, if you want to drink less, you know, within those safe limits, then you need a period of abstinence to reset everything, and then you've got a much better chance of being able to do that. And also, if you keep going alcohol free for 66 days, the benefits are really going to be major because doing a dry January or something, it's just too short. You know, you'll have a few little quick wins, you know, your skin will improve and you might start to sleep better, but just keep going that bit longer and not only will it get easier, but you'll feel better and better. So a slightly longer challenge makes an awful lot of sense. So I think that's me. I mean, anyone that doesn't know the tribe, please just go to tribesober.com, click on Sober Spring. We're going to supply you with online audio and most importantly, community support for 66 days. So I very much hope to see you on the bus. Now let me see if there's anybody there. Yay! Oh, hi Lynette. And Mary Louise, hi. You had a little blip, didn't you? But you're back now, so well done. Hi Sue, happy birthday. Natasha, good morning. Oh, Ross, we also like sharing Saturday mornings with you. Oh, Sue likes my pearls. Yes, I've decided now I'm a mature lady, I'm going to wear my pearls that I've actually owned since I was 25 years old. But I always thought they made me look middle-aged, but now I'm quite happy if I look middle-aged. um, the rules, no, Monica, you know, of all people, they certainly never worked. Lynette, yep. Hi, Mandy. Yeah, just ditch the bloody stuff and move on. Yep. Yeah, yeah. Leaving a restaurant, if there was, I definitely would have done that. I would have had a row with my husband. I'd say, let's get out of here. You know, we can go to that restaurant over there. We were in the waterfront surrounded by boozy restaurants. I would have insisted that we move. Yeah. Yes, Mandy with her same old stories. Ideal evening, home alone, phone on mute, bottle of wine, absolutely. And the trouble with that, Ros, is you end up drinking more and more as well. Yeah. Oh, Lucy, nice to see you. Pearls of wisdom, yes. Yeah, maybe I should have a pearl for every Facebook Live that I do. So, Lucy, yes, I hope we see you at the Zoom Cafe. So, yeah, I hope some of you are coming to the Zoom Cafe. We got no guests today, so we're just going to have a nice chat. And Flick's been busy setting up a new kind of chat system for us. So we're going to have something that we can use as well as WhatsApp, not instead of, but as well of. So once I understand how that works, then I'll be able to tell you at Zoom later today. So thanks so much for tuning in and see you later. Have a listen to the podcast. It's a lovely young British guy that he's just coming up for his first soberversary, and he was hectic into drugs and drink, but he's really nailed it. So have a listen. Bye, guys.